One. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our stream. We are actually starting something new today, new and exciting. And no, this overlay is not going to be permanent. It is just here temporarily.
It's very sparkly.
It is. And I'm going to give it over to Derrick, who will give us a little bit more information on what we're doing today.
Okay, so today we're going to learn to knit.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Wrong. Yeah.
Let's go.
No,
Rozzie's got you beat on that one.
That's gonna be next Wednesday's stream. No, tonight we're gonna start a new game in a homebrewed world that I've been working on. Well, actually, I'm gonna be dating myself here, but technically like 35 years. I started the very basis for this world when I was 8. So
you are.
I am math. No, sorry. I didn't say 45. I messed up the math there. I'm only 42.
A great start.
So, yes. I messed up the math today. No, so I'm 42. So technically it's only
You're nice and seasoned.
34 years. 34 years.
We don't math in this group, okay? Let's just...
Anyway, so
a long time. Long time.
As the years have gone on, I've adapted it to the different editions of Dungeons and Dragons. I've even tried it with a couple of other systems, Heroes at one time, or Hero system at one time, and everything. But anyway, the point is, we got these fine people here. We're going to start something new today, and I hope that as we go along to do this, the point of this exercise is to come together, enjoy ourselves, but also we want to tell a story, and I think we want to get everybody involved in this. So what I'd like to do is invite my players now to introduce themselves, the characters they're playing, and then we'll jump into the action. Let's start with Andrew.
Hi, everybody. I guess I'm the new guy. So my real name is Nick, but I'm going to be going by Andrew for this one because it makes it easier, so we don't have two Nicks in the room. I am playing Thaddeus Steele, the envoy warforged monk who kind of looks like a futuristic space robot because he is more magic than construct, and he's going to be like Data from Star Trek. So get ready for that.
Data?
Words.
Why don't you pick who you want to pass it off to?
The lovely lady.
All right. I play Auguste Barra, which is her last name is after one of my favorite Wheel of Time characters, Perrine Barra. She is a human wizard necromancer, sort of like an I see dead people everywhere sort of deal, but she doesn't want anybody to know that. And yeah, what else did I miss? Nothing. Okay, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Other Nicholas.
Yes, hello. I am the other Nick. Hello. So, I am playing Kixik Mantra, who is a tiefling barbarian. Ooh. Yes, so he comes from faraway land, and he kind of had a little bit of a weird past. He unfortunately failed his friends as he was trying to be more of a casting type. But because he failed his friends, because he was so weak, they ended up getting injured. And long story short, he felt bad about it, ended up going on a healing quest to try and better himself. And in the process, he became a massive, overinflated ego barbarian who will sometimes use casting not very well. But, power is louder than words sometimes. But other than that, I think I'll pass it off to Kevin, who we're most interested in hearing about.
I'm a dog. I'll be playing Bosco, the former familiar of a wizard and fool family, who is now free to roam about and do as he pleases. Playing that as a divine soul sorcerer, and I get to be a dog. So we're gonna have fun with this.
Cool puppies.
I'm a good boy.
So
This is just going to turn into 2 hours of us giving the dog scritches.
Oh my
and
god, we're gonna get
toys.
nowhere. Oh my god.
I approve.
They retired to live with the dog. The end.
Borf.
So, guys, that was my stream. Thank you.
We'll see you guys later on Sunday.
No, we're gonna now focus on the dog for the next. No, that's fine. Actually, okay. So, see now I'm having a momentary lapse in what the next thing I was going to say is, because I've taken I want to take a moment because there's something else I want to talk about. I've taken a couple of big steps this year. For the longest time, I played mostly text-based games online of D&D or in person with a bunch of people I knew. Over the last year, having gotten with Kevin and them, I started to do voice and started to play on the stream on Sundays and started to play more often, and now I've taken this next step, and it's a thing I really enjoy. It's something I want to do, but there's also a little bit of myself that says it can get a little over wordy or whatever. So I ask kindly anybody if I'm speaking too much or too often about things that are not important, just kind of steer me back to where we're going, and we're good. So, where we're going to start today is on a busy and thankfully not too unpleasant smelling train car. The train is left from a massive city to the north known as Antwerp. That is a center for invention and technical gadgetry. They've invented rail lines, they've invented cannons, they've invented mechanical elevators. There's all kinds of things that they've invented that they sell inventions to other countries to use and things like that. Overall, this rail is a small it's a small train that's technically mostly meant for distributing goods from the north to the south. But what they do, or what they've done recently, is they've included makeshift seating arrangements for people. So they're at most like kind of wooden benches. They're not very comfortable. It's not very exotic. It's just they put you on this thing and you travel for a few hours to the south. The one thing that they have been gracious enough to do, because the two carts in front of you are carrying livestock and manure and other things, is they've been gracious enough to enchant this car with a sort of air filter that produces a pleasant evergreen scent in the shape of a little tiny evergreen kind of air freshener thing that hangs at the front of the car. And it kind of makes the whole area smell like a pine forest for a short while. And then a young man goes over and taps it with a wand every couple of hours, and it reinvigorates the smell. So the trip is going to be about 6 hours. And in this time period, you're covering a pretty good distance, and there's no real separation between passengers and some cargo. So you're now in with stacks of raw material, wood and stuff like that. They're going to be delivering down there. You have your seats, but there's also like finished nails and horseshoes and all kinds of other things that are being transported from the north. And what we first see at the front of the train, all alone, depending on, here's the next question. So Andrew, do you walk really amongst everybody without any kind of disguise, or do you normally have clothing on, or is there something that you cover up with at times?
No, he's pretty much always naked. Yep. And he also is thinking to himself that he really thinks that the train shouldn't cater to the normies and make them smell the nasty stuff in front of them.
What a party! Holy shit!
So I don't think you're probably not even. Are you sitting on a bench, or are you just standing at the front of the train?
His legs don't get tired. He feels no need to sit.
Yeah. So standing at the front of this train is this.
Cylon?
Kind of. All of you have seen like clockwork and like automatons, like things have been invented in Antwerp where they've built like clockwork creatures and stuff. And he looks like that next step above, because in traditional clockwork creatures, you see, the point is to see the gears, to see the functioning of this thing, the masterpiece of having all these tiny pieces put together to bring something to life. His creators, probably very artistic individuals, have decided to kind of smooth that over, to hide some of that with a kind of more armorish, but not kind of offensive design. It's how would you describe it? More just
human-like, but very sleek.
It's a very polished kind of nice curves, not no real jagged edges, no real gears or anything. So he's standing into the front, and directly behind him, well, actually directly to his side, kind of just laying on the floor at this point, is a rather large, well, what an average size. What you're an average size dog. You're not. As far as anybody can tell, you're just a dog, right?
Yeah. The only thing that would set me apart from a normal dog is the purple scarf with yellow stars that I'm wearing.
Yeah. So he's got a little scarf around his neck, and he's just laying. The benches are they're not really receptive for you to jump on them, so you kind of just had to edge out a kind of portion of the floor next to Thaddeus for yourself. And two of you have been traveling together from previous destinations, so the time has so there is some history between the two of you at that point. And directly behind you is a bench where there is an older dwarf sitting, who this woman, and right next to her, this dwarven woman, is a large kind of overflowing backpack of things. There's picks and hammers and like climbing gear, and then you see like part of a telescope and some pots and pans and knives, and it's all overflowing. There's like cutlery, there's all kinds of everything you would need to kind of like be a survival expert, plus all this other just stuff. I mean, you think you also see like a portion of a life preserver kind of sticking in the back of this pouch, but this female dwarf is laying across the bench, arms spread out, one touching the ground, one up. Her pack is sideways, taking up. The dwarf and the pouch take up about 4 spaces where 4 other people could sit. And you can see in the far back, there are about 6 people standing who occasionally look over and give her an extremely dirty look, except that she just keeps kind of snoring and staring up, and every so often you can tell these snores are being put on, because every so often she'll reach for a flask at her belt, take 3 or 4 slugs, and then quickly end the 4th drink with a really loud manufactured snore, close the lid, put the pouch back in her pockets, or back in her belt pouch, and then go back to pretending to be asleep. She's been doing this the whole trip, and nobody has really said anything, because as far as everybody like actually running the train is concerned, you guys are essentially cargo, because it's really not a passenger vehicle. So anybody riding is just not treated with any. There's no amenities. There's no comfort or luxury here. It's just a ride somewhere. And then going a bit further back behind this dwarf, what would you be doing?
If anything, I'd be trying to keep to myself. But that's a good question. Like, I'd probably be like in a train environment. Let me see. Well, I mean, mostly I'd be admiring my own muscles, just seeing, like, talking to myself, like, what I could improve on, and basically go from there.
So you hear the self-help guru over there going, my guns are amazing today. No.
Gosh,
No.
I need to balance it out with a little bit more protein, and then a few more push-ups should do it.
I just have one question
Every
for you.
day is leg day.
Yeah. Cannot skip leg day. You can't.
Oh, dude, running through the forest, it's always leg day.
God.
and then the seat, the kind of bench that's kind of behind you is occupied by 3 medium-sized wooden chests with iron bonds and locks on them, and across from these chests there's a young human who is very he's got short black hair, kind of green eyes, and a couple of marks on his face that look like they're probably like burn marks, like, or scars from like catching like embers from a flame or something. He very cautiously clutches in his hands a ring of keys that no doubt the keys belong to these locked chests there. And he's been spending the entire time staring at those locks, like making sure they don't move or anything. Seems very nervous. Anytime there's a loud noise, anytime there's someone that says something around him or anything, he kind of checks the ring, makes sure the keys are there, goes over, checks the locks, tugs on them, makes sure they're all secure. Then he sits back down, he clears his throat, and then he continues to stare back at these locks. And then you move just a little bit further back into this train, and August, you are there. At this point in time, probably about 2 or 3 minutes ago, there was an older gentleman that was sitting close to you, but he got called away to the people in the back, and he got up. Or he's sitting close, not sitting exactly next to you, but close to you. He got up and he walked back to the people back there, and you can hear them in the back there talking. What you can hear from where you're at is it's basically talking about some jobs that they had before and some things that they did before and what they're planning to do when they get to Rustgrave, which is your destination, the town you're going to. They're hoping to make a deal. They seem to be hoping to make a deal where they can work at the Charmed Bunyip, which is the inn there. And they're trying to talk about how they have they seem to be 5. There's 6 of them. There seems to be at least 5 of them that are musicians. They have instruments of some sorts. They've kept in the back, and that's essentially, you can see it. Why they will not go away from there is they are guarding their instruments that are all kind of piled in one little corner of this little train car. So, what would you be doing right now? You've been riding in this train for about 3 hours.
I'd say like casually reading a book and trying to keep to myself, observing who's talking to who so I can make sure who's real and who's not and who's dead. Making sure I'm not accidentally talking to ghosts in public.
Well, surprisingly, you don't see a lot actually on the train, but you have seen several areas right outside, like as you've been traveling along, that are known like battlefields and stuff. So you have seen some spirits that might be not really at rest, but none of them seem to be coming near the train. The train seems to be very it's just something about very, very quiet, aside from the few characters there, but also it's just something about the speed at which it travels and the fact that maybe nobody has really it's a relatively new thing, so not many people have died actually on the train.
Yes.
So you're not seeing
early.
that. Yeah.
We don't need to add to that.
And this is the point in the game where I tell you, you've all died.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
And this is a train.
Oh, cool. We're haunting a train. Hell yeah.
Thaddeus is played by Bruce Willis.
Oh, no.
But Kevin, or what? I don't remember the
Bosco.
characters. Bosco. Would you be from Antwerp?
I believe I'm from Meadowwild.
No, they would be from Meadowwild. They would have gotten on the train in Antwerp. So
I was just gonna say, I
these
didn't know if I
people,
knew him
Yeah.
or whatever, or had seen him around or anything in the wizard areas. But
No,
because I would give you a
pretty-
nod if I had heard of you. But
No, pretty much you've seen everybody only when they gathered to get onto the train, because they all took your privilege based upon your previous master and your abilities was able to get you from Meadowwild to Antwerp, Bosco, with and Thaddeus, take him along as well, with no real difficulty, but you couldn't get any more juice out of previous relationships to get it, so you were forced to take the train.
I don't mind the train.
would I in any way recognize that he was like a former familiar or anything like that by the scarf or anything, or would I have no idea that he's not a dog as a wizard?
I would say, you've probably talked to Thaddeus in the last a little bit during the day at least, right? So there's been a couple of bubbles.
Yeah, every now and then an illusion of a chalkboard will appear above me, and then words will scroll out on it as I speak to other people.
Wait, you don't even talk?
No.
I have to read every time you say something?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, I can do that too.
That's
He
so
does.
inefficient.
He does talk, but he speaks dog.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't
Dork.
speak dog,
Can I learn dog in the process of this game? I think it takes like 365 hours or something like that to learn a language, right? How complex is dog?
You probably don't have the right throat for it.
and there's also scent base and positioning involved in speaking as a dog.
Oh my god.
It's like
Do you
learning
have a
Latin.
familiar?
I do not.
But-
I'm
I
very
have all the
intrigued.
familiars I need when I
Yeah.
raise
But
it.
but to answer your question, you can definitely tell that there is something he's not just a normal dog, because you do see this chalkboard appear. He's wearing his scarf, and he has apparently no
focus on things a bit more attentively than a standard dog.
Especially a golden retriever, right?
Yes.
I would definitely probably say hello to you out of curiosity.
Are you on the train? You're walking up and saying hello, or?
Yeah, I'm getting the hell away from the guy talking to himself about his own muscles. I've rolled my eyes enough times in 3 hours to last a lifetime.
The eye roll quota has been filled.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just escaping this guy, and do you speak common in a writing sort of way?
I'll sit up, and the chalkboard will appear. Yes, I understand common. Greetings.
Nice to meet you.
I am Bosco.
Bosco.
As this is happening, you see the Warforged standing next to the dog go into his bag, and he pulls out a plate that he affixes to the front of his face, and it has a crudely drawn frowny face on it. And from the robot you hear, Bosco, this one approaches us and makes conversation. Do you wish to speak to her?
She's polite, yes.
Okay. And then he takes the thing off of his face, puts it back in the bag, pulls another one out, which has a crudely drawn smiley face on it, and affixes it to his face.
What in the world?
Think Mr. Potato part. Mr. Potato Head
Mr.
parts.
Potato part.
Yeah. I don't have a mouth that can move.
So he attaches his emotions to his face.
Oh my god, we gotta get this guy an upgrade.
I am so intrigued by this. I'm more intrigued by like the chalkboard that keeps popping up above a dog. And it's like, I want to kind of get up because I see the commotion. I'm like, I want to be a part of this too. So
yeah, from your angle, the chalkboard's probably at its side, so you can't even read it from back there.
No, but I want to come up and I want to display a chalkboard that says Bork on it to you using my minor illusion.
Okay, so I don't know. I think I just connection dropped there for like 2 minutes, so I totally missed everything that happened.
Basically, the jock is coming over now because he doesn't have an audience.
Does anyone know Stacy over here? Yes, I'm coming over to basically do a minor illusion to the dog, and the chalkboard literally that I'm minor illusioning just says Bork on it.
Chalkboard appears. Don't be rude.
Chalkboard, I'm
What is
sorry.
a bork?
Bork,
It appears
like
that
a
we're
bark,
popular
but
today.
like... Whoa.
I believe it's a lack of entertainment options on this trip.
Look at this shiny dude. Like, wow.
I know you two make quite the pair. I am not usually one to initiate conversation, but you guys are kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I
right?
accept that as a compliment.
I'm sure you probably hear that a lot, though.
I do.
I'm sorry.
When I'm beating up bar patrons to earn coin, we usually attract plenty of attention.
Indeed.
Well, sounds like my
So-
kind of style, except without the bar and in the wilderness. And there's no people, it's just animals, and I'm very lonely, I'm sorry.
So a talking dog would not be common, correct? Like a chalkboarding dog, rather.
As far as I know, I'm unique.
How?
I had spent many years serving a wizard, as is familiar.
Ah, okay.
And since I no longer serve him, I am free to wander this world.
What have you been doing? Adventures? Like, not getting personal here, but...
No, I don't mind. I am employed by the Celestial Bureau of Familiar Affairs.
The what?
Familiars have a union. I'm a representative.
Oh, good lord. Do you also speak Celestial?
I do.
Well, we have something in common.
In addition
Wow.
to common.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
And how did you pick up this fella,
Thaddeus can explain for himself.
Thaddeus?
I was sitting inert in a museum. I don't remember much of my creation or before I was awoken by Bosco. I joined him on his affairs in order to see the world and beat people up.
Huh.
We're working on that.
And no one was upset that you left wherever he found you?
Not that I'm aware of.
The
Fascinating.
museum didn't think it was appropriate to keep a sentient being as an exhibit.
Of course not, but that's amazing. Well, nice to meet you. I'm August.
And what brings you to this new method of transportation?
I guess it was the only ride available. I got an invitation to like a wedding or something like that. So, heading there to check it out.
Derek, we all got similar invitations, correct?
Yes, actually, and that brings us shifting back from them for just a moment to the reason why all of these people are actually on this train, and that is um, one morning when they woke up, they found a nice golden envelope. And inside there was a letter from a man whose name was Lego Delcio. He is the former mayor and bard of Rustgrave. He sent basically he sent a letter that says, come to Musgrave, Rustgrave, sorry, the tiny town nestled between the merchant kingdom of Antwerp, where they got their initial ride, and the swamps of Abendorl, which is a large lizard folk controlled swampy area to the south. There's a little red house knocked twice. You can bet your beard that there will be a lot of interesting conversation. Forget the formal attire, but do remember to bring your host a gift. Food and booze are appreciated. Arrive promptly at sunset 6 days from now if you want to make a name for yourself. He goes, and he continues the letter that his name is Lego Delcio. He's the former mayor and bard of Rustgrave. He says, I am no longer employed at either job due to health and age. Strange things have been happening lately. Reports of tiny men stealing prized possessions, witches, tragic events all around, but none have been hit so hard as the Mathis family. Both parents died in mysterious circumstances. The young Tarsis has been missing for months. And the younger lady, Melody, has been accused of being a witch. Her trial is to come in a few weeks, and this has prevented the planned wedding between Melody and a successful merchant from Meadowwild. So I ask that you investigate this city, as your outside eyes may. As outside eyes, you might best be able to find things I could not. When you arrive, we can discuss more specifics. In there was the golden envelope, and inside was this letter, and also inside was a small ticket that allowed you free passage on the train from Antwerp to Rustgrave. So, but it's free passage in the cargo section, basically. So it's really not all that splendid. But the invitation to come to this town and to experience everything there is about Rustgrave, and to apparently help make sure a wedding happens in time. I mean, at least that's what the letter said when they were found. And the strangest thing was finding them essentially in the places where you woke up next to your faces, like on your pillows or whatever that morning, with no signs of anybody ever having entered your premises, no signs of anything else being disrupted, just letters appearing there. And obviously it's magic. Bosco, you're fairly certain of that, but even that kind of trick sometimes leaves a little bit of a signature, and you didn't really see one.
Let me just throw this out there. If you elect Thaddeus Steele Mayor Bard, I will spring for premium economy.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm writing that down right now.
I can make you a mean poster.
When you asked about where I mentioned the letter, I'll use Mage Hand to pull the exact same copy of the letter out of my scarf to show you that I'm going the same way.
And the only difference in the having looked at your own letter and then seeing Bosco's letter, the only difference is just the name as to who it's addressed to.
Yeah.
It's word for word exactly the same, kind of everything's written, exactly the same. The names are just different.
I'm gonna see this and I'm gonna be like, oh, you guys got one too? And I'm gonna pull it out and be like, oh, sweet.
Uh,
And
well, guess we can't shake him.
oh, I'm gonna get really sad about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You've just been talking to yourself for 3 hours. It's a little exhausting.
What do you want me to do? We're stuck in a train. I don't know any of these people. Like, I
Would you
know
like to read a book?
I haven't read one in a while, but I guess I could try.
Here you go. Read my book.
Yay!
We could kill him.
No, that would get us thrown off the train.
No.
Fine.
I'd advise that you don't.
What have I told you about killing people in public places?
Not to kill people in public places.
So we've got Bosco, Thaddeus. My name's August. What's your name?
I'm Kixix, but you can call me Mantra because I know sometimes my first name tends to trip people up.
The infernal dialect is tricky that way.
Yes, unfortunately. But hey, I'll make it a little bit easier, It's easier for me sometimes, so.
So it seems we are all a sucker for mystery, and that's why we're going to this wedding. Or lack of wedding. Whatever it is.
I'll admit to a fair share of curiosity.
Yeah, that's basically why I came. That and boredom.
I now go where the dog goes.
I just want to get out of the woods for once in my life. It'd be nice to get some decent food.
You live in the woods?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. People don't.
The woods of Antwerp?
No. The woods near where we got picked up.
You live in the woods near the train station.
Well, it wasn't always like that, but yes.
Oh. Now I
Just
feel
putting that
bad for
out
making
there.
fun of the homeless dude.
You're literally a hobo on a train.
Oh my god.
I'm a hobo who looks hella good, but
We would fit right in on like the New York City subway.
oh my god. I'm the rat named Tony. I steal pieces of pizza from the local vendors.
As you
talking to himself on the train.
Yeah.
as you continue to talk, I need as you continue to talk, there's a large bump in your entire cart just shakes, and I need a dexterity check from everybody who's standing. Bosco, if you're not standing, you're kind of laying on the ground at that moment. I don't know, so I wouldn't need one. But if you are standing up, yeah. So maybe, yeah, the dexterity check if you're sitting in a seated position, unless you're flat against the
If
ground.
you're sitting,
Unless, yeah, if you're not,
Okay.
if you're not flat against the ground, I need a dexterity check from you.
All right,
I got a 16.
I got a 16.
16 also. Twin.
Natural
Exactly.
16 on the die for a 21 for the robot.
Jeez, what's going on here?
Wanna be twin.
No. So you all manage to hold together, and then you hear kind of a loud amplified voice from the front. Our apologies. That was just a deer on the tracks.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Or whoever.
they didn't even stop
Tempest.
and make it into dinner? How wasteful.
Well,
Why
it kind of
Oh,
ran over the deer, so
Oh, that's no
that's
excuse.
terrible.
it's not
It
yeah.
doesn't follow me.
They don't really. This is a new form of
Wait,
transportation.
now someone died on the train.
Well, technically not on it, under it.
Do not look at Soul or it'll follow me all day.
And
Oh,
and
God.
August, you kind of have a moment where you look back at that female dwarf, and you actually see, like sticking its head out of its pouch, or out of the backpack. There are 3 rats.
Are they blind? No, I'm just kidding.
No, there's 3 rats, and they've stuck their heads kind of out of the pouch, or out of one of the pouches on the pack.
Did we all see them?
Yeah, you can ask them.
No, did we all see them?
You got to ask them. You're the one. You're the only one that sees them so far.
Oh, me?
Yes, you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought Thaddeus saw them.
Oh no.
Hi,
Yeah. So while you guys are having this discussion, she promptly turns around, looks at the pack of the female dwarf, and apparently is kind of making cutesy voices at a pack of junk.
Oh, didn't you see the mice? The rats? No?
No.
Okay.
I know.
I realized she probably has
No.
dead rats in her purse.
Perhaps
Not
they
good.
perhaps they moved. Yeah. Perhaps they moved back very quickly. You're not sure if they were in there and then they just they had their noses out for a minute and then they're back inside.
I
Or they
checked
could
myself and I'm like, what are you doing?
they could be dead rats. You're not quite sure.
Oh my god.
Is there
I thought
something
I
that
saw some rats. I'm sorry.
is there something that concerns you?
Oh, I just thought I saw some cute rats. Sorry.
What
They
have
ran
we
away.
gotten ourselves into?
Bosco, you don't smell any rats.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I was like, dead or otherwise?
No, you don't.
Why would you
You
ask
don't-
that?
Yeah, no, you don't smell any. You don't smell the overwhelming smell in here right now is that pine freshness from the thing. But even when that starts to die down, all you then can smell is the animal, the livestock in the front and the waste from them. In this general area, even giving like the area a sniff, all you smell is like the normal body sense of these people, and you don't smell anything. You don't smell anything dead.
Okay. So I'll make a small show at sniffing the air. And I'm like, I don't believe there are any rats on board. It could be the air freshener device that is masking them.
Ooh. Took it a light.
I'm sure it is.
I don't have to roll anything, right?
So what are you gonna do? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
I just said, trick of the light.
Yeah, you're like, nah, you didn't. Nah. No, you don't need to roll anything, as far as you can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to like persuade us that you're not crazy. Then you would have to.
I know, like, no deception, right? Because I think I am practiced in it, but I really don't want to. Nope, I only have a +1.
So then you hear once again that amplified shouting voice. We'll arrive in 10 minutes at the station. be warned, near the end there is there's a little bit of a bump, so hold on to something.
Running over more deer.
Holding on to something.
I'll just kind of like lean against a wall, thinking like I should be able to do that trick where. Oh wait, that's not even a trick in that realm. Okay, no, I'm just gonna like brace myself standing. I was gonna do like the Subway Surfer kind of motion, but like no, that doesn't exist there.
Thaddeus very awkwardly like raises a leg and places it and steadies himself against the bulkhead.
Oh
Okay.
God, I thought you were gonna do like the weird sexy leg kind of thing, like just like put it up on something.
Like, flip your leg 180 degrees up and brace it against the ceiling.
He is very dexterous.
Oh jeez, that's beautiful.
I'm just gonna lay down.
So yeah, so when you hear that, the nervous man who's been carrying the ring of keys quickly goes over, pushes those trunks as far to the edge of the thing as he can, and sits right next to him. Then he kind of beds down and wraps his arms around him. He's like kind of just holding himself over on these chests. The whole time, still that dwarven woman has not. She just takes a few sips now and then. She didn't even seem to acknowledge that voice. She's still laying sprawled out. This time you think she may have actually fallen asleep, but and then you do see that very cautiously the men in the back are grabbing their instruments to kind of hold them in case, the thing rattles too much. And there is a little bit of a bump, but it's nowhere near as bad as even that the deer that you guys hit a little while ago. And when you stop, somebody comes by a few moments later and pulls open these doors, and standing right outside the door is a mountain dwarf. He has short, wavy black hair, brown eyes, golden skin. He stands about 4'1", although he's very, very muscular, and he has long. He has a really long beard and that mustache that kind of comes out and connects to the beard. But while the beard is unkempt and just kind of flying everywhere, there are braids through the mustache. And on one shoulder he holds he has a patch to the dwarf father, the creator of the dwarven gods, and on the other side he has essentially what looks like a coachman's crop, something that would be used to like move the horses along or whatever, but he also has a series of keys dangling from his belt, and he seems to be wearing what would be an approximation of kind of like conductor's kind of suit, and it's just one piece, kind of grayish blue.
So like an overalls
like
and a
an-
romper kind of in one kind of thing, or
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah, with that, and it's and he pulls the door open and it's like, lets everybody. He's like, starts waving everybody out. He goes, "My name is Thundu Frosthand. You're now here at Rustgrave. Get out now. Get out of my train now."
get out or you'll feel the thundu.
Wow.
I had to make the joke. I'm sorry.
That happened.
Oh, it's beautiful. All right. I guess I'm gonna make my way out to the exit.
Yeah, I'll wait for these three people I've met to be on their way before I stand and leave with them.
Onward.
Okay. So when you arrive out into the, you come off of the train and everybody takes their stuff, and very quickly you see the various the musicians immediately have taken their stuff and they move off and head towards the inn there, which is actually called the Charmed Bunyip. Bunyip.
That was where we were told to meet, correct?
No, actually, they mentioned the Little Red House. Knock twice at the door of the Little Red House, and that's the things that you see, and the things that you see is from the rail depot. What you actually see is there's a large mansion with marble, like marble everywhere, it seems like, and then accented by a smooth blue stone that's flecked with white streaks. Not a common stone, and in fact, Bosco, the stone there and August, for instance, that stone there, even you can tell, even without any need for like detect magic, it kind of seemingly, even from a distance, reminds you of like an elemental source. The bluish like sky stone in the mansion, and next to that is speaking of the sky, is a temple. You can see it has a big sign to Allure, Alor, Allure, the goddess of wind. There's a big temple to the goddess of Allure, and a small graveyard next to the temple. But those are the first things you kind of see, and they're kind of directly south from the rail depot. But as you look around, you can also see in the distance there is the Charmed Bunyip, but then surrounded by a series of trees where there's like a clearing. Like all this area is pretty clear from vegetation except for grasses and stuff. There's towards the center, like right beyond the mansion, there's three big groupings of trees, and in between those trees you see a red house. It's a smallish red house. It's next to the mansion. It's not even maybe a fourth of the mansion size. But the reason it draws your attention so clearly is that the whole thing is painted a bright red. It's almost like tomato red, and it has just a small door, and there's a couple of windows, and even the curtains inside these windows that are visible to the outside are red. And beyond there's other parts of the city, but you see most of the people besides you head off towards the inn and towards the groupings of houses that are on the kind of outskirts of this area, and leaving all of you kind of at the foot of the thing. And Thundu's like, so now that you're off the train, sir, he's like, give me a second. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a piece of paper, and then he starts reading this. How may I assist you? Can I show you a place to... and he squints a bit, and he keeps staring at his piece of paper, and he can't... What can I do for you?
Can I circle around him to read the rest of the note?
Yeah, you walk back around him, and it's actually, when you look at it, the note is it says at the very top, instructions for polite things to say. Like hello. And the very top of the piece of paper says, "Hello, how is your day?" And then below that it says, "Do not say get off my." And then there's like a blank space, but then under there's like using any expletive language or any expletive in any language is not permitted. Train. So it's kind of this whole big thing. He's looking at notes on how he's supposed to behave. And then furthermore, it's like, welcome to this. How, can I, and that's get down to the section. It's basically if somebody needs direction somewhere, or this is the first time they come to the city, these are the things you're supposed to say to them. And it's like, the whole thing that you read, and it's like, but the end is smeared. So there's no words there at the end of that thing. So when he was looking at it very intently, it was smeared and had been smeared across his hand. But under that, it says, under no circumstances are you to throw people's luggage from the train.
Oh, man.
Thad needs this piece of paper for his social cues.
Yeah. Isn't there some place we gotta go, guys? Oh wait, yeah. Hold on, I can check. And I'm gonna pull out my invitation. And just kind of read through real quick to see, like, just to remember where exactly, like, we're supposed to be going.
All it says is come to the red house, knock twice.
I believe the house we're looking for is right here. I can't imagine there would be another like it.
You never know.
And he goes, you're coming to see Mr. Delcio. He's quite the character. Sorry. Yeah. Just go past the mansion, like through those trees, and you'll see the house. It's right there. It's not too hard to just. He doesn't even lock his door, so I hear. So just knock a couple times and help yourself in.
When I write on the chalkboard, I'm going to be using a bit more of a dwarvish script. But I'll ask him, do you know this Mr. Delsko?
Yes, Mr. Delcio. He was the mayor of this town for 63 years.
Was?
Yes, just recently he retired. Nobody is very fond of having a 98-year-old mayor. Well, okay. Let me rephrase that.
Isn't that a little ageist? I was going to say.
Not 98-year-old human mayor.
Ah. That's fair.
Thank you for the information. You have a nice train.
Thank you. And he pulls out the sheet again. Yeah. Have a good day. And he looks right down at Bosco like he's expecting kind of like the response. Like, sir, have a good day.
And to you as well.
I'm still
Really
so, like, this is amazing. This dog is cute and just communicating. Oh my god. I've never seen anything like it, and it still perplexes me.
I think we should be on our way.
I don't like that he addresses himself as Mayor Bard, as he is no longer the mayor.
I think if you...
I was gonna say, I think that's just sort of a human thing. They like to keep their titles even after the fact.
Yeah, titles are very important to humans. No offense.
It's true. Time is short for us.
But he says in his letter, I am Legodelcio, former mayor and bard of Rustgrave.
See, that's where you got to take better notes, because I just wrote down Mayor Bard.
One of the glorious things about playing on a stream is you can watch this later and take more notes.
Aha!
So yeah, I'm going to start walking over towards the red house.
I'll follow.
And as you're walking towards the red house, August, you, I don't know how closely you look, but there is that temple and there is that cemetery. You don't actually, in the general area, you don't really see any dead things. And over at the cemetery, you see it. There's a startling, like, most cemeteries, there's maybe one or two. There's at least something there. Some that maybe just didn't were wrongfully buried or something. There's always something, right? There's always someone doing something wrong. But seems like a very pristine. You don't see anything. You don't sense anything from that area as you pass it. It just seems very, very peaceful in this area. And
I would imagine most people don't die in a cemetery.
No.
Being buried alive, that happens.
Sometimes.
Barbarian.
Whoa, way to profile me. But yeah, I agree.
And as you're walking by, the thing just about to the red house, you see this kind of. She's about 6'4", and she's about 6'4", and while she has somewhat skinny kind of build, it's very compacted muscle. You can see it. And she has bright, like emerald green skin, a bald head, insanely blue eyes, but like the whole lot of the eye, not just the whites. They're not just the iris. Like the whole eyes are kind of blue. You can tell she's a half orc. And she's got a massive, like a scar on her neck that looks reminiscent of like No, that looks reminiscent of almost like a guillotine kind of cut, that kind of blade, but it's all across like the whole front of her neck. And what's most interesting about her is she is carrying large logs, about 4 of them, in like scooped up in one arm, kind of next to her, and holding that kind of arm up, kind of almost like in a flex position with these 4 large logs in there. And she's just carrying these things and she's putting them down in front of this red house where they look like they're about to be building something. Looks to me like a stage or it's hard to tell just exactly what it is just yet, but there is a lot amount of wood, and this one half orc seems to be doing all the heavy lifting and moving of things.
I'm gonna see this, and I'm gonna like go run over and say, "Hey, do you need help?" Because I haven't worked out in the past 4 hours, and it's making me anxious.
She looks over. Yeah,
4 hours.
Yeah,
She's real.
She points. She points over, and they're just a bit further down to this place where she points. There's like a wagon, and on this wagon, it's all full of building materials and pieces of wood. It's all the stuff that came off the train. She's like, bring the wagon over.
All right, and I'm gonna go run over and like try to bring the wagon over. Do I have to roll for strength.
Oh, yeah. If you're going to try to pull the whole wagon with all the stuff in it, yeah, you're going to need to make a strength check.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm going to be
Athletics.
Athletics? Oh, okay.
He's aggressively hopeful.
I roll.
I am-
Here we go.
I am very, very hopeful. Oh, hell yeah. 19 on die plus 4. That's a 23.
Throw his protein shake in front of a tray and he'll really lift it then.
Stop.
So you grab this thing, and you can tell, you can get it. You're going to be able to get it over to her, but this is the amount of weight and stuff that's in there. It's quite heavy. This would be something that they would use several large horses to pull.
It's like
you
see me like it's like if you can envision it, it's like the really wiggly lined smile. But in my mind, I'm screaming and crying. Like,
What are you?
I don't know.
Whoa, what's your race?
I'm a tiefling.
So
Okay, so I'm borderline impressed.
So as you start walking, and you're walking towards the house, you see him run over, grab this cart, and you all can see like the strain in his face as he does this. Like you have blue skin, right? That is now
yeah.
That is now starting to take a great purple hue around your face as you go, and you're like, and you can just see veins upon veins upon veins. It's like those old close-ups on the Ren and Stimpy show where they show all the details.
Oh god,
throbbing veins and all the disgusting. And he says, yeah, he gets the cart over, and then he realizes one of the reasons it was so bad is there was a lock on the back axle. If he had just walked over and removed one of the locks on the back axle, the back wheels would have rolled better, and it would have been a lot easier to move the whole cart. But he just...
That's what I get for gunning it.
He just ran over and moved the cart. So he does this, he brings this over, she thanks him.
Does she notice that the lock was still there on the back wheel?
It had to have been a setup.
Yeah, no,
It's loud.
Like,
yeah, it was. He was dragging it essentially. It wasn't rolling; it was being dragged across the thing.
So there's just tracks behind it, like it's digging into the ground.
There's this trail behind it. She goes, my name is Hat Red Rage. I am the town's carpenter, and next time it is much easier to move the cart when all of the wheels can move. Over there's a lock. Well, to keep it in place so that it didn't, roll down the hill.
Yeah,
but,
I figured, but that was until after the fact.
You have accomplished a feat of decent strength. Perhaps you will come to the inn tomorrow night, and you and I will have a drink. I will not take no for an answer.
I was about to say absolutely, because I cannot pass up a drinking buddy.
That's good. I shall see you tomorrow then. Your name?
I'll angle the chalkboard so only August and Thaddeus can see it, and it's just going to say, I ship it.
Oh my god. My Mantra. You can call me Mantra. My that's me. That's my name. And what's your name? I'm sorry. Oh wait, you just told me your name. I'm sorry. I'm a little stupid.
Perhaps you have overexerted yourself.
Yeah. There's no oxygen.
I would drink some water and sit in the shade for a moment.
Good plan. And I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna kind of take a water out of my my bag and kind of just sit down for a few seconds.
Do you need me to carry you over there?
No, I'm good. I'm like trying to try to not say yes, please, because I kind of want to, but I need to show that I'm a strong, independent person.
Well, it was nice to meet you, and thank you for your help. And she goes back to like pulling other stuff off the cart and preparing to design the rest of the stuff. And it's at that point where you guys had all stopped for a moment to watch this exchange because it was probably too priceless not to see it.
Yeah, I was just sit down and enjoy the spectacle of this, knowing that our goal is mere feet away.
Yeah, the red door, the doors to the red house are just not that far away. And Ushat goes back to her building, and Kixik goes to drink some water for a minute because you did exert yourself a decent amount, but not anything too overly serious. But
I need to hydrate.
And besides that, I mean, in general, you do see there's some small kids and other people, but they're all Ushat.
Hats, thank you.
Yeah.
That was sap, and I'm like,
No, Ushat.
Thank you. Got it.
Have you recovered? Can we be on our way?
Yeah, I think I'm good. Let's continue going to that goal that we had.
This was much easier when it was just the two of us.
So is the door. Who was going to knock on the door?
I'll knock.
So the question is, how are you going to knock?
How does it say to knock? No,
It specifically.
No.
No, specifically it says knock twice.
Knock, knock.
Oh,
I follow
okay.
directions. I just don't remember directions.
Yeah, that's fine. As soon as that's why I asked, because as soon as you knock the second time, the door just the door opens, and the first thing that you both see is there's a floating tray of these glasses of fluid with ice in them, and there's condensation on the outsides of these trays. There's 6 cups in the fluid. It looks inside. It's a yellowish fluid. It's not something that you guys have initially seen before, but it's floating on this tray, and it seems to have opened the door and is waiting for you. And down below Bosco, you actually see a silver bowl of water just kind of floating about at the same distance, like up and down. It's floating towards you about that. Well, it's kind of like
How thoughtful.
Oh.
You could tell that these are definitely like unseen servants or something moving this within this house. And all you can see at this point is when this door opens, there's a 10 by 10 foot room with a column in the center that goes about half the length of the floor half the length of the building from the floor to about midway at the height of the building. And on the top of that column is a bust of a head. And this head is a slightly older male human, very, very kind of hawkish nose, very short cropped hair. He does seem to have a chain from his left nostril to his left ear. And on this bust head, and that's all that's in here besides the floating trays. There's no other rooms. There's no there doesn't appear to be any doorways. There's no windows. It doesn't match with the outside at all.
Well, I'm going to stop for a drink of that water and take a little while.
I'll take one of the cups, which I thought you said cops, and I'm like, why are there 6 cops in the house? Like, but I'll take one of the cups.
Surprise, you're on Dateline NBC.
I knew it. I'll take one of the cups, and I'll be enamored by like the ice in the glass, and be like, whoa.
I'll take one as well and like sniff it and wait until somebody else drinks it before I partake.
I'll just like instantly take a sip and be like, crisp.
It's a combination. It's a combination of sweet and sour. Sweet and sour.
Sounds gross.
It's
not a wedding cocktail.
It just kind of goes through. It's almost like a grapefruit and lemonade together.
Ooh.
So it tastes like ass, basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
You put gin with it in a second.
I don't drink gin anymore ever since that day in Philly. Never again.
But it is. This in and of itself is just a cold mixed juice. There's nothing else to it. Your water it's what you would consider the absolute ideal temperature of water for drinking. Just it seems like this.
Dogs don't drink alcohol?
No.
I prefer not to.
Fascinating.
And there's no alcohol in this thing. It's just like a juice, like a cold juice mix.
I'm not drinking this shit. I put it back.
I haven't had Capri Sun in forever.
Grapefruit's nasty.
So does the robot get a special beverage, or is it just this?
You get some oil for your joint.
You get some sparkling oil.
Sparkling oil, yeah. It's a little tangy.
Some glitter oil.
No, there's nothing here specifically for you. I don't know if he
savage.
I don't know if
little oil can. No.
Thaddeus will just take the glass and just pour it down the front of his face because there's no mouth.
Yeah, and you pour it down, and it comes down your body and settles at the floor. And a few moments later, you see a tiny little broom, or tiny little mop. Sorry, only the mop is only about a foot in total length, like the mop head and the little handle, and it's just bobbing along the ground. And it comes over there, and it just kind of swirls up, mops up the thing, and then it gets taken away by some
Roomba.
some tiny little servant.
Welcome to
This is
Fantasia.
why they don't serve your kind.
You make a mess. Damn.
Once you've come in and you've made your way into the room, the room, like the door shuts and the room like instantly darkens and a spotlight appears over this bust, this head, and in like there's this music that starts to swell, this piece on a violin, and it's all very moving and everything. And just as it's starting to reach up to this highest point of everything,
crescendo,
there's a flash in the entire room, just lights up like really brightly, and you have to actually shield your eyes for a minute. It's that dark, that contrasted bright, and when it reappears, you are no longer in the middle of this room with this thing, but you're now sitting at a large banquet table, and at the end of the table is the head and the rest of the body of the individual that looks like the bust that you saw in the other part. Although he's much older now, The piercing is gone. And he wears a suit that looks to be made of very fine leather, but it's all red and gold and reds, yellows, and gold. And on his lap, he holds a violin. He goes, my friends, you have arrived. You have arrived. I,
Mr. Delsko, I presume?
oh yes. Allow me to formally introduce myself. I am, and he stops for a second.
Peter. Charlie. Matthew. Mike.
Agatha?
Bertha.
Bertha?
Yeah, he's looking at them as he left off names. He's like, he looks intrigued as if trying to figure out if you're gonna guess his name.
Adolfo. No,
Archibald.
We could do this all evening if you'd like.
No, I run out of names.
Thank you. Allow me to formally introduce myself. My name is
Waldo.
Rosie, stop.
He does pause for a second, seemingly a little confused.
You keep pausing on your name.
It's making it worse.
My name is. Pardon?
At least the dwarf had this written down.
Martin, you said? I was getting to that one. Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
I am
Courtney?
With a
that's with a Q-U and 2 E's.
Courtney. Courtney.
Oh, God. Okay.
Good night.
All right, bye, guys. We're setting up.
And this leads into next week.
Bring it in, people. Bring it in.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
Breathe.
Okay, so this is that part wasn't intentional, but he is seemingly unable to. He's done it twice. He's kind of paused before he said his name, and he looks a little confused when he's attempting to get there to say his name. So he goes for this third time. He's like, I am Diego Delcio. I am the former mayor and former bard of Rustgrave, the town you find yourself in now. I see that you all have received my letters, and I thank you for coming. Although 2 of you appear to be missing.
2?
Is it the sleepy dwarf and the rat?
No. See, let me see. The Warforged? Thaddeus, right? Your name, Thaddeus? Yes,
Yes.
Your seat is to be over there, and he points to a chair. You can sit if you wish, or stand, whatever is more pleasant for you. August, young lady, your seat is across from Thaddeus. You'll find your name plate over there. And Bosco, I'm afraid that. Well, I wasn't sure if you'd be comfortable sitting at the table.
Or on the table?
I like being on the furniture.
So we got you a booster seat.
So I have prepared you. So as the gracious host that I must be, I have prepared two options for you. There are these over here, and he points to there's a stack of really fluffy pillows next to a couple of dishes. He goes, or you may sit next to Thaddeus, and there is the chair is just slightly wider, but there is like a nameplate at the table for you.
No, I will take the wide chair.
Yeah, just sit there. He goes, and I guess kicks
Present.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Mantra. What's your name?
You may sit next to Bosco over there. Your nameplate is there. But there's another young lady, a cleric of the Raven that was supposed to arrive a couple days ago, and she's unfortunately not here. I will send a letter to her church. I must remember that. I will send a letter to her church and find out why she has not arrived. And the other was the other? Huh. I don't. There's supposed to be another. He goes, what does that nameplate say over there? The one that would be right next to you, Kixik.
Yeah. I'm gonna attempt to read it because I don't know.
Well, obviously, you don't know because you go over there and look, and the plate.
It's a plate, all right.
I lost the name. It's not Eloise.
What? No, Miyuki Bean.
Okay. You see the name Thea Wheatflow.
Ah,
That's
okay.
a terrible name.
Thea Wheatflow. Yeah, I know. I wish her name was George.
I'm so glad she's not here because I wouldn't want to say that name.
Oops, did we say that out loud?
Oh, let's see.
I didn't say anything. Yes. That was all her.
It's okay. You get the best of the best.
Well, she was the. No. Well. Perhaps they will show up tomorrow. I will send word to them again and see if they are to arrive. But for now, I suppose we're almost all here, so we could discuss what I've why I've brought you here and what has been transpiring lately around here, so that we could well, what did you think when you came in? Everything seemed nice and peaceful and calm, and nothing seemed to stray. Right? Nothing wrong.
No.
The train did run over a deer, but that's pretty much it.
I know, and they didn't even slow down.
Yes. Well, the dwarves are like that sometimes. They
Savage.
They kind of just build and go and don't worry about who they've
run over.
Yes.
Murdered.
Exactly.
Murdered.
Exactly. Well, as I said before, I've invited you here. All 6 of you. There's only 4 of you here. I invited you to this town because it's not at all what it seems. We've had our share of misfortunes for the last 20 years or so, and everybody has. There has been the occasions, the plagues in the far south, the threats and rumors of war, and the occasional catastrophe happening in the edges of Meadowwild. Things that everybody's dealt with, but we've been particularly, well, not all of us. Some of us have been quite fine, but there's a family here, the Mathis family, the owners of the large mansion that you may have seen outside as you came in here. They have been experiencing a large amount of misfortune,
Go
I would say.
on.
Well, the masters of the house both died mysteriously within a day or two of each other. First, the lady of the house had fallen from the top window out onto the grounds and had left quite an impression on
Ground.
Not wrong.
Whoever witnessed it.
the fence and a group of children going to Sunday school.
Oh,
Oh my.
Jesus.
literally.
It's yes, it was, and then apparently in his greatest grief, the master of the house, seeking a temporary distraction from the loss of his beloved, attempted to drink his sorrows away, but we found out much too late that instead of drinking the alcohol that he had stored firmly in his cellar, he was drinking various forms of poison.
Drano.
Ammonia.
Drano.
He was drinking various forms of poisons and had ended up killing himself. Accidentally, they say, but one has to ask,
How do you accidentally continue to drink poison? It's like,
It's not
Yeah.
tasty.
See, and that's the problem. There was an investigation. Everybody, top to bottom, was checked. Motives were questioned. People were asked. We did a thorough investigation. We even brought paladins from Antwerp to judge them. We brought the clerics from Allure to shed the light of truth upon those lands, and we could not find any reason to believe it was anything but an accident.
Do you know their names?
Whose names?
The lady and master?
Oh, yes. Oh, it's just the lady. Okay. Yes. So,
Norma.
the
He's gonna murder me.
so the Mathis family, for there was 4 of them. There was Regard. His name was Regard, the master of the household. The lady of the household's name was Hope, and their daughter's name was Melody, and their son's name was Tarsius, or they occasionally, at least within the village, called him Terry.
What?
A wonderful name.
It was harder for some of the younger kids to say Tarsius, so
You're like, what up, T?
what
as a
a
nickname, as a nickname, he was called. They would call him Terry.
So are they all dead?
Oh no! They see that's the most interesting thing. The lord and the lady of the house died. Terry just disappeared 2 months ago. Well, no, sorry. Now it's closer to 3 months now. And his sister, and this is the biggest trouble of them all. Um, Melody, um, when she became the sole successor to the household, was courted by a merchant from Meadowwild. They were to be wed just 2 months from now, to consolidate, uh, you know, their power in a sense, and to allow her to continue to run this household and be, an upstanding figure. This wedding was arranged, uh, but only after she found a suitor that she had taken a liking to. Well, on her latest trip back from Meadowwild and stopping in Antwerp, um, to catch the train back here, she was captured and she's captured and held on charges of being a witch.
What's so bad about that?
Is she a witch?
Oh, wait, are these humans that we're talking about?
In Antwerp, witchcraft, not sorcery, not magic, witchcraft is outlawed. Witchcraft is at least in their understanding of it, according to their laws, is the unholy use of arcane powers. They would be some of you in the other regions might call her a warlock, pact. She's made a pact with they claim that she has made a pact with a demon.
Question.
Awkward.
Have they weighed her? Because she weighs
No.
as much as a duck.
So proud of you right now. So proud.
I'm not sure about that. That is a good question.
Now,
you would have
So
to
that
ask
would
the
be the
officials
first
there.
step.
now, having heard that, I'm a little concerned. I'm kind of what you guys call a demon. So am I gonna have any problems here?
No, he looks over at you and goes, "No, your ancestry. There's demonic blood in your family line somewhere, but you do not strike me as one who has an active pact with the demon."
Keep it to yourself.
I'm not gonna
I'm
say
gonna pinch
anything.
him.
Like, I know I don't, but I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Do
Because
you
it
I'm
was
gonna pinch him if he's next to me.
No, you're across
Do
from
you
me.
believe the accusations of witchcraft
then.
are true?
I do not. I think that the family has been extremely unlucky, and I believe, and that is why I've called you, because I believe that there are sources. There's something that I'm not seeing within this city, maybe within the city, if not further out, conspiring against this family for some reason. You don't just fall out of a window. You don't drink poison on accident. You don't disappear. You don't get accused of. She's always been a lovely young lady. She's always been helpful within the city. She's gone out of her way. Yes, she does practice some magic, but I do. I'm sure. I know many of you do. There are many out there that practice some magic. That does not mean that everything that we do is from has come from a deal with a demon. And I don't believe that she's guilty. That's why I'm asking for a fresh set of eyes to look this over, to examine these things, to look at these houses, to find what I'm missing.
Question.
Yes.
So, why did they accuse her of witchcraft? What did she do or not do or say? Like, what indicated to people that she might be a witch?
details of the experience, details of the incident are a little unclear. I've requested further information, and all I've gotten is a couple of secondhand stories that say when she had arrived in Antwerp a day or two before this train was heading here, she was seen at a church, and when she was at this church, they say that they say that she swore a curse at a mother to be, whose baby was shortly born, very shortly, within the hour of this curse, born with dragon scales and a forked tongue.
That happens sometimes.
So it's Dragonborn, isn't it?
Yes, but no. We all know what Dragonborn are. We have seen Dragonborn. But this child was said to have been born, mostly human, but with patches of scales and a forked tongue.
Then maybe that mom is doing some shady stuff that she isn't telling anyone, and she just wants to try and get away with it.
Well, perhaps, but we don't know. All I know is it said that, but it does get more complicated. After saying this curse and this child is born, when she was questioned, they said that the lead investigator, a cleric of the Raven, went blind when asking her the question of, what she did with the child, or what she did to the child. The cleric went blind, and they could not reverse it at the temple.
She also has a tattoo of Baphomet.
Are they still blind?
That's a good question.
Has it been reversed?
No. Unfortunately, they're not blind anymore.
Why did you say unfortunately to that?
I know, right?
Is that a bad thing?
Well, it is a bad thing when, as a blind cleric, you accidentally step in front of a cart and a horse and are trampled to death by a horse.
Oh, that's what you mean by that. I was going to say, I'm like, she gets to see this hellscape of a planet,
Were they still blind at the time?
Yes.
That would explain why they didn't see the horse.
Exactly.
Now,
well,
therefore, she's not a witch. No.
I told you I'm a detective, so.
Is there somewhere where we should start looking? I'm assuming we have
who
to investigate.
accused Melody of witchcraft?
The mother of the child, several clergy members of the Church of the Raven who saw the priest go blind when he questioned her. And, there is the other thing that's happened since then. The whole time within the last 2 weeks that she's been captured, any food that they bring to her cell rots within moments of arriving. She hasn't been able to eat, yet she's not weak.
This seems more... Can I actually do maybe like an Arcana check to see if this sounds like she's cursed and not actually practicing witchcraft?
I know, it does sound like it's something that's happening to...
Even though I'm not trained in it, but as an older kind of I used to do magic kind of thing.
Yeah, you can attempt one. Everybody can attempt one. Bosco, if you'd like to, you can as well.
I got it fixed.
What particular check is this?
Arcana or
Arcana?
Religion?
22
or
Arcana.
Religion. Yeah.
22 Arcana.
Arcana or Religion, both. The symptoms that the things that are being explained, they seem like a series of like you said, they seem like a series of simple curses put on other things. But the reason I think that, at least you can gather from this, why they are possibly saying that she is a witch is she's now not eaten or she's not had any food or drink for 2 weeks and is still alive and as strong as before. And any food that they bring to her instantly rots. It seems like that's a like it would only be someone who's consorted with a demon who could live for 2 weeks with no food or water,
Or someone who's cursed.
Thaddeus can live for 2 weeks without food or water.
Is she hungry?
Zing.
She's cursed to never lose weight. I mean, you would never have to eat or drink at that point. Yeah.
They don't know. She hasn't said anything to anybody since her words.
She hasn't been speaking?
Not since her words blinded the cleric. Or not since she's concerned that her words had blinded the cleric, I should say. There's no proof.
So she is concerned about the other man's well-being.
That's not what a witch would do.
Yes, she is concerned.
It sounds like she's concerned.
She is concerned, but she is concerned, and you and I would agree that is the sign of a troubled person,
So
not a cursed person, not a witch, but
she's the last of her family?
yes.
What happens to her family's holdings if she's not around?
Oh, and that is a good question, and that is actually why I've brought you all in. They would come to me because Regard owed me quite a fair sum of money for my various jobs that I performed for him, and the agreement was that as long as I was mayor of the city, I would not take his funds. But technically, when I retire, I'm no longer the city mayor, and then he will owe me the money. But now he's not alive to pay it, so it'd have to come from his estate, and a large amount of this estate would come to me. So I need this transaction, if it is to happen, to appear. Well, I need it not only to appear, but to be legitimate. And I also, there is that. I also don't want to see a young woman unlawfully accused of being something she's not. That's another thing. And I am also much too old to do all this investigation myself. As even having this discussion with you has caused me to need a nap.
You're telling me.
To be honest.
This does appear to be an interesting mystery.
And well, it's just the start of things. That's just the family. I've not really even gone into the other things that have been happening around here, and I will do this somewhat quick.
Hello?
Because I will do this somewhat quick because I know that you are eager to probably have a meal and rest up from your long trip. I can imagine that riding in the train is not the most comfortable thing.
Not in the cargo area.
You should have upgraded us to Comfort Plus.
There is no comfort. There's nothing but cargo now. This train line is relatively new. It was hard enough to get tickets for you guys to ride at all.
You cast Morton Kane's Magnificent Mansion on the train car. Anyway.
You should
Lehman's hut.
Yeah. But there have been rumors of at least that several of the town folks within the last couple of days have been saying that there have been, as they put it, tiny men that they've seen sneaking around their house, stealing their most prized possessions. I have not seen any, and we have not seen any sign of them anywhere, but there have been more and more people coming to me to claim this. I am not even the mayor anymore, and yet everybody comes to the town to me to tell me all these things because they know I am the only one that's, well, the current mayor's probably, he's not going to really do anything. He's more concerned with his
Whores.
no, he's just more concerned with his station rather than than actually doing his job. He's the kind of guy.
No.
He's the kind of guy that likes to sit back and polish his name tag.
Oh, he's one of those people.
So, like, how tiny are we talking? Like, halfling tiny, gnome tiny, pixie tiny?
I just wrote down underpants gnomes, question mark.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
They, about a foot tall, a foot tall and vaguely humanoid. They're not like humans, but they were brown, a foot tall. They had strange glowing red eyes.
Oh, God, are they pugwudgies? Go cryptid
Probably
hunting.
just goblins, like red eyes.
Oh
like...
no, not goblins. We have a goblin here. We have a goblin here. He digs the graves out at the graveyard. He's actually a nice fellow.
To him?
Oh yes, he's a wonderful fellow. Him and I play chess now and then. He's very good. But you know this now. Before we sat down to our feast, let me explain this. There's the Mathis family is all but gone. Melody has now been accused of being a witch. She's now in prison. These tiny men are appearing. Prized possessions are disappearing. There's the water. Well, the water from the wells had a strange taste the other day, but we found out what that was. One of the local goats had fallen into the well, and, well, we corrected that problem. We pulled the goat out, and that's
fucking
fine
nasty.
But, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
But-
bro, what
but
are you eating me tonight?
I'm just
Goat
saying.
soup?
But I'm just saying, overall, there's been like a lot of really strange, small stuff happening that's led to bigger events and bigger problems.
Can I tell, or can I make a roll to see if he seems sincere with actually caring about Melody?
Sure, an insight check would be perfect for that.
Sorry, stand by 1 second.
Yep, no problem.
17.
So many tabs.
17. Okay, so
All the tabs.
yeah,
I only have one.
you have not, just listening to him, you have not heard a single word from him that seems, there have been hesitations, but you chalk that up to older age, and he does seem to have a little bit of a memory issue, but everything that he's been saying and everything he's been saying about the families and the town and stuff seems very on point as to him being a very caring individual who is now kind of put in a position where he can't do everything he might have once done to help the town. So he's a little distraught about it.
So what I request from you at a later date, I feel like we should know at least a outline of friends, enemies, and family related to the Mathis family.
Oh yes, of course. We can talk all about that tomorrow morning, but I think for now, let's have a meal and get you settled in for a place to stay. You're welcome to stay in my house. As you can tell, it's not all that it seems. There's much more room here than when you first came in. But
It may be best if we stay somewhere else. If people
well,
know we're associated with you, they may not be forthcoming with information involving you.
Oh, okay. Well, there is the charmed bunyip right up to the northeast of here. Not but
We
a
saw it
couple
on
of
the way
minutes
in.
walk. Yes, not but a couple minutes walk there, and you're likely to find rooms there. There's enough there, and it's at this point in time where I think we'll stop here, and we'll say, we'll cover the additional information that you are seeking, August. And all this stuff. We'll settle this as you have a meal, and then you have some pleasant conversation. Not much talk about actual jobs or anything, just kind of get to know each other a little better and stuff. You move on to the inn where you get rooms for the night, and we'll start things up the next session at the beginning of tomorrow morning.
Woo!
Essentially.
How
So
good.
Jazz hands.
Oh, hell yeah.
well, not tomorrow. No, next session that we play.
Yeah, next session, which might not
will
be
be
next
the-
Friday, because I won't be here.
Enough said.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm like, I technically can at night, but
Yeah, but I'm just saying it will be the next day in game.
Yes.
It'll be the next day in game. It'll be tomorrow in the game. Okay, there we go. So, this has been the first session. I hope that everybody's enjoyed it. Let's give some final thoughts. If anybody has anything, go and say goodnight or whatever. Let's start with Kevin.
That was great. This is literally the first time I've got to play D&D as a player with Rozzy in 10 or 15 years. It's glorious. We're going to be doing our Curse of the Azure Bonds game Sunday night, where Rozzy and, everyone here except Andrew are players in that game. And then Monday night's game session, Oliver will be running a one-shot because I am in back-to-school hell at an office supply store and will be drained of all life by game time. Until then, you can find me on Twitter at EvilSalesAss. I will appreciate the distraction. And from here, we're going to pass things off to Nick. Nick, who so helpfully handles all of our technical bits, making sure the stream works correctly the way it does.
Yes, and you can find me at BlueAura94YT on Twitter. Basically, I'm going through a purging season, so I can finally unlock my account again. So that'll be fun. But other than that, you'll find me also on the Carpe Nerdus page, because I'm having a lot of fun with that. That's the point. And this game was really fun. I love how it's starting out. And honestly, it's kind of amazing to have Kevin as a player, because you have no idea how giddy I was to have him as a player next to me at PAX Unplugged. Like, it was amazing.
We've only got to do this player thing a couple of times as well.
I think I gasped a couple times and slapped him on the shoulder really hard because I was like so excited. But yeah, that's me. I'll pass it off to Rozzy, our next contestant.
I forget what we were talking about, but Cinder Wizard on Twitter and Instagram is what I usually say at the end of things. Yeah, that's all I've got. I'm glad to actually play with Kevin. I've played in one game with Kevin when he was Toku, a samurai essentially, and I was a wizard, only a different type of wizard. But
it hasn't been as long as I thought.
it's been a while, but not that long. But still, that was like a 3-year game. But it's great to have the opportunity again, and I'm already excited about where this game is going. Thank you, Derrick.
Yeah, thank you.
And I don't know, Nick, have you gone? Or Andrew, have you gone?
Andrew.
I have not gone. Other Nick, aka Andrew.
Little Nick.
You don't know me.
He's probably taller than me, let's be honest. Oh, shit!
Love
We
it.
went there. Oh, God.
Oh,
Nope.
damn.
Nope. No one will ever confuse me with the tallest person in the room. I will give everyone a Twitter handle when I have a Twitter handle that isn't an inside joke with my coworkers. So I'll work on a new one of those. And I really like this little cast of motley crew characters that we have going here. It's going to be really fun to see how this develops going forward. But I had a great time tonight, so thank you.
Excellent. Welcome to the Carpe Nerdus family.
Yes.
Yep. And my name is Derrick, and I ran the asylum for just a short time today. And my Twitter handle is Disposable Idiot. And I am really thankful that everybody gave me this chance to try this out, and everybody's willing to sit down with me and do this. And so thanks a lot, and you guys have a good week. Try to see you. Well, I think we may be back in 2 weeks rather than one, but we're going to try to get back to a weekly schedule after that. We want to do this as often as possible without burning everybody out. But okay, thank you.
Yep. And have a great night.